There are moments when a single idea quietly changes the way you see yourself forever. This might be one of them. Look at this face. Nothing seems unusual. Now, turn it upside down. Suddenly, the smile feels wrong. The eyes seem almost disturbing. The picture never changed. Your brain did. Now look at these two squares. One looks much darker than the other. They aren't. They're exactly the same color. For a moment, your brain created a reality that never existed. And it does this all the time. You're walking through your house late at night. A dark figure stands silently in the hallway. Your heart skips a beat. You reach for the light. It's only a coat hanging over a chair. The hallway never changed. Your prediction did. A few hours later, your phone lights up. One word, okay. No emoji, no explanation. In less than a second, your brain finishes the conversation for you. They're upset. I must have done something wrong. An hour later, another message arrives. Sorry, I was driving. Once again, nothing changed except the story inside your head. Then something even stranger happens. Your phone vibrates. You reach into your pocket. Nothing. It never vibrated at all. Your brain expected a notification and created one. These moments seem ordinary. They're so common we barely notice them. But together, they reveal something extraordinary. You don't experience the world first, then interpret it. Most of the time, your brain predicts what's about to happen before you become aware of it. Only after reality pushes back does it quietly rewrite the story. That same pattern appears everywhere. A child learns to catch a ball. The first throw misses completely. The second is a little closer. A few days later, the hands move before the child even thinks. The brain has already learned what to expect. The same thing happens when you learn to ride a bicycle. At first, every movement feels impossible. You wobble, you overcorrect, you fall. Then one day, something changes. You stop thinking about balance. Your body already knows what comes next. Every mistake updates the model. Every success makes the next prediction better. In 1895, long before neuroscientists had described this process mathematically, the young neurologist Sigmund Freud was puzzled by a similar mechanism. That question kept Freud awake at night, so he began writing a manuscript titled Project for a Scientific Psychology. His goal wasn't to explain dreams, it wasn't to invent psychoanalysis. His first ambition was far more radical. He wanted to explain the mind using biology. He imagined the brain as an active system, not a passive recorder of reality, but something constantly trying to organize incomplete information into a coherent world. Freud didn't have brain scanners. He didn't have computers. He didn't have modern neuroscience. He only had patience, careful observation, and a notebook full of difficult questions. And more than a century later, neuroscientist Karl Friston described one of the most influential theories in modern neuroscience: predictive processing. The brain continuously predicts the world, compares those predictions with reality, and updates itself when they don't match. The language is different, the mathematics is different, the evidence is far stronger. But the question feels strangely familiar. Not because Freud discovered predictive processing. He didn't, but because he was already searching for the same mystery. How does the brain create the reality we experience every day? Freud believed the brain does more than predict the world. Sometimes it protects us from it. He called these processes defense mechanisms. A soldier returns home after war. A car door slams. His heart races. His muscles tighten. For a brief moment, he's back on the battlefield. But the street is safe. His prediction isn't. A little boy breaks his mother's favorite vase, and when she asks what happened, he blurts out, "It wasn't me." Sometimes the mind protects us before we even understand what we're feeling, not because it wants to deceive us, because it wants us to keep going. Freud believed survival sometimes comes before accuracy. He noticed another strange pattern. People often meet someone new, but react to someone from their past. A therapist asks a simple question. The patient suddenly feels judged by a parent. A new partner forgets to call. An old fear of abandonment returns. A manager offers calm feedback. It sounds exactly like a teacher who never believed in you. Freud called this transference. The person standing in front of you didn't create those emotions. They simply awaken predictions your brain built years ago. The same pattern keeps appearing. The face, the checkerboard, the coat in the hallway, the text message, the phone that never vibrated. Again and again, your brain completes the story before reality finishes telling it. For more than 100 years, Freud's scientific manuscript sat quietly on library shelves. Dust gathered. Psychology moved on. Most people remembered Freud for dreams and psychoanalysis. Very few remembered that he had once tried to explain the brain itself. Then neuroscientist Mark Solms opened those forgotten pages. Not to rescue Freud, not to prove he had been right. He wanted to understand what Freud had actually been trying to build. A biology of the mind. Modern neuroscience rejected many of Freud's conclusions. It also answered questions he could never test. But science doesn't move forward by throwing every old idea away. It moves forward by testing them, keeping what survives and leaving the rest behind. Perhaps that's why Freud still matters. Not because he solved the mystery, because he asked a question that science is still exploring. So the next time a shadow makes you stop, or a message changes your mood, or someone you've just met instantly reminds you of somebody else, just pause for a second and ask yourself one simple question. Am I seeing the world, or it's just my brain's prediction of it? Because every time you notice the difference, you understand yourself a little better. And perhaps that is the first step toward becoming a little more human.